Hi there and welcome back. Okay, so as you'll know from the last part, we made the appendix. We made the railgun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to focus on attaching the railgun to the rest of the model. Now, as you probably can see from here, we have a pretty good work surface to attach it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with an auto-gridded box and just make sure I can get basically a clean box out from there, and I just want to get the size right straight away if I can. So the box is down there, and what I'm going to do is just change the width on it and its height like so. Okay, and then right click, convert to editable poly, and this is going to be our weapon mount, like so. Now I'm going to go into editable poly mode, and the first thing I'm going to do is just start squaring it up. So if I hit F3, get the sides there and there. Now it's a credit to 3ds Max that you can work with this kind of polygon count without exploding your computer. This is probably bigger now than the Ultimax set, for anyone who remembers that, in poly and detail, and it's handling it like a pro. I remember I couldn't even open the Ultimax model eventually on my own computer, so being able to do it on this is just like awesome. Okay, now I'm going to bring that across to about there, and then bring this over, and this will be basically our control panel for the weapon. Okay, that just fits in there like that. Now I'm going to hide the weapon, so hide unselected. I mean, I need to hide this bit, hide selected. Okay, and that just gives us this bit now, which makes things, obviously, as you can see, about 1,000,000,000 times easier. Because what I need to do now is attach this to this, and I'm also going to bring this part down. I don't need to add any details on either side of this because it's hidden, or the front or back because it's hidden. Everything I'm going to need to work on basically is attaching this to this. So I'll come up here and just check out my model basically. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build a cylinder coming out of here, and I just need to check obviously that my normals are correct. Hit F3, there we go. And they're not, so away you go me. Okay, so I'll just build a cylinder off this instead. That's a sphere, Jesus. So it's a cylinder. I'm having one of those days, if you notice, just because I've got this head cold thing that's going around. There we go. Right. Now, this I need to modify straight away, so I'm going to make height segments of 1. I'm going to keep the sides of 18 because I'm probably going to want to smooth this out at some point. And just flip this over. Have you ever had one of those days? Because I certainly have. Mine hasn't even really begun yet. I've got loads left to do. Okay, now I'm going to align this, and I'm going to hit F3 while I do it because I want this to be in the right position, which is this position, just there. See, get it nice and close. Because the pivot of this is of course going to be the pivot of the gun. Now convert to editable polygon, and I'm going to grab this, bring along, and leave it there, like so. Okay, pardon me. Now what I need to do next is affect my pivot only, center it to this object. Okay, so I know my pivot's correct. Drop in perspective, and okay, so I need to line it up on the left. So hit F3 again, and I'm just going to get the top part of my wheel there lined up with that. There we go, and it's done. Perspective, zoom. Okay, now By comparison to this, it comes out a bit, but that's okay because I would like the idea that it has this kind of strength to it, which is what I certainly do need. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill off half my model. So I'll go over here and just take everything except that bit. So I'm just going to take this bit and delete it. I'm going to go straight through the middle of this and I'm going to connect it. Then I'm going to take off the bottom part like so. Now over to here and I'm going to take my two edges, so one edge here, one edge here. Just let autosave do its thing, which will take a minute. Okay, and select this one. It did an autosave, but for a change I decided to pause it. Sod that. Didn't want to sit there for the next 3 days or whatever. Right, I'm just going to get this to intersect on the bottom like that. Okay, that's cool. And now with this shape, what I'm going to do is basically bridge my edges. So one, and then another one. Then I'm going to cap off the bottom and the other bits as well, so just Control A and cap. Okay, and that just caps everything for us, which makes things a teeny weeny bit easier. Now, as we can see, this isn't central, so we're going to have to move it along a bit in a few moments. Actually, I'll move it along now, because I can just move the gun in a moment as well. I'll just come out of that. Just grab this part. There we are. Because I need to give the impression that this is like a really, really, very, very strong piece indeed. So, but the thing is that I've got to be careful on how I do it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here. I'm going to take these off, just here and here. Okay, that's a first point to start at. And if I just quickly unhide all, and I'm just going to select everything there, including the parts of the weapon base that I need, and then I'm going to go over here and select these, and then hide unselected. Okay, because as you probably know, I use these pistons an awful bloody lot, and frankly I'm going to use them again. So hold shift and just drag it over to here, click OK, and then move it a little bit just to fix it. Hang on, I didn't get all of it, did I? That's why I did that. Hang on. Am I moving this in local? Oh, I am. That would explain a lot. View. There we go. I wonder what was going on. Right, move that up to there. Click OK. Making sure to copy. Okay, go up here and just hide unselected. And move in. Right, so what I need to do now is basically create a piston rig for this that's going to manage this part here, and that's slightly more complicated than it sounds. So I'll come over here. The good thing is though, this will give it obviously some very dynamic movement. I'm just going to be very, very careful on how I place the objects. Okay, now top one will go up there and in. Like that. And I just want to make sure that we haven't got any intersections going on. And I'm going to duplicate it to there. And that'll give us the much needed strength for this part. Now, I'm just going to make sure that I've got everything here that I need. That's selected. I'm going to my left viewport and zoom, because I'm going to have to duplicate this to the back as well. And just find the right place for it. Now it becomes much easier, obviously, because we have these kind of parts libraries that we're constantly working from, which is a very similar approach to kit bashing, truth be told. So what we can do now is take our bottom pistons, which are here, and not you, here, and then here, and here. Getting close for that one. And I'm going to bring these straight down, so I'll just go to my left viewport and zoom. One of the things I really like about using the Unreal Engine, I know this is kind of a Unreal Engine, what's that got to do with what you're doing? Well, one of the things I really like about the Unreal Engine is that I can move a part and scroll the screen at the same time, and it's tremendously useful. Right, anyway, enough of the Unreal Engine and why I like it. Let's get these mounted to the floor. Oh, autosave's kicked in. So just move this down. I've started pausing it now when autosave comes in because it started to take an incredibly long time with some of these. Right, now I'm going to grab this and bring it to the edge here. And then I'm going to grab this and bring this over here. Oh, need both of them really. Like that. Now obviously pistons, they are too small. That's okay, we can get around that in a moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this piston and its friend down. Now I'm using local for this one, so I'm going to grab here and just do that. Let's give us two nice long pistons, one there, and the one behind it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly the same length, but get it as close as you can, you know. There we go. Now then, over here. To about there. And then its little friend too. There we are. Okay, so with those elongated, and you can see they're different lengths to each other, but you know, I'm sure we will survive. We can now have a look at these little fellows here. Oh, you. Now, this is a different kettle of fish, because what I need to do here, grab that and grow. And I've got to get this entire piece here, so shrink it a bit and bring it up, so that it overlaps it. Now I'm going to do the same again with its little friend, because if we don't expand them, they ain't going to fit. And local normal, thankfully, is being a good chum today. It's not doing anything that it shouldn't. My left viewport here. Bring that up so it matches. And what I can actually do is get my left viewport here. Then I'll be able to see exactly if I'm getting the right height or not. I'm to switch between, obviously, different viewports. And that's the point where you go, wow, Chris, that's what the viewport system's used. Yeah, I know it's what the viewport system is mostly used for. And yeah, that's great. I just don't tend to use it too often that way because I don't need to. Anyway, grow. Bring that fella up to about there. And now this one. Oop, haven't deselected the other one yet. And same again. And you can see when we overlap it, you see, so we'll just do about there. There we are. So that's that part done. Zoom out. Okay. So with that done, F4, what I can do now is start attaching these parts on. Now we're going to be careful with our rotation on this because it's probably going to need to be a little bit wider for this to be effective. So I'm going to turn this off local again, just back to the screen. Maybe bring that back to there and bring this over here. Reason being that these fellas here are going to need to go a bit further away, or we ain't going to be able to rotate our weapon hardly at all. And by doing it this way, it gives us the Higgs sling. Don't know if you know what the Higgs sling is. I think it was Higgs, wasn't it? In Aliens, Higgs has an awesome gun. Now, if you were a kid or younger, anyway, when Aliens came out, you'd have wanted that gun. It was goddamn awesome. And it had this bitching slim on it, and you know, who wouldn't have wanted that? So, but it was held by these kind of hydraulic slings and stuff, and I always thought it was a really cool design. There we go. Anyway, I am wobbling and wombling. Let's get this model here done. And what I'm doing is just selecting these edges here, and I'm going to chamfer it so that we get a nice rounded shape. Because by adding rounding to it, I was watching a talk by, hang on a second, I better look up the guy's name, hang on a sec. You'll find it on the 3D Palace page, and I was going to do an article about it as well on 3D Palace's website. But it's by Mike Hill, and it's an industrial design and entertainment lecture, and it was fascinating. And it's all about how, like, you know, things like in aeroplanes, the windows have rounded corners and stuff. All about industrial design in the field that we cover. So it's well worth a watch. But anyway, it gives a good explanation as to why we round a lot of things as well. So I'm going to round that one. I don't want to round the bottom, so I'm just going to deselect anything at the bottom that's been selected. There we go, now I'll do it. About there, and then I can round it so that it meets up. There we go. Nice shape that. A bit more. Okay, so that's rounded it nicely. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some sections on this, here and here for example, and inset them. And then I'm going to use the scale tool and just bring parts of them down like that. Just so that we can get like areas of, as I call them, as you know, areas of interest. So bevel this in. Like that. And that's looking okay. Actually, I've got too many chamfers on the side there. Hang on, I just want to get rid of one of them. So I'm just Control Z. There we are. And then come back into this and then do the inset. Yeah, I didn't want too many chamfers, so I'm going to put a smooth on that. There we go. And I mean, I could make a bridge to go straight through between these, but that would really, really weaken the model quite a lot. So I'm going to do another inset here, and then just a straight bevel straight in. I gave it some thought and I thought, no, I'll do it that way. Control select by edge, grow, grow, and then I'm going to deselect these edges here. And remember, they'll be on the other side too. I don't need to put a load of bolts down here because we ain't going to see them, incidentally. Okay, so just chamfer. Don't even need a very big one. There we go. Alright, now, if we go down here to where this is, I'm going to grab the verts at the bottom of this and bring them up kind of flush to here. And I don't need this piece that it's attaching to do much. It's, why did it spring back into place? That's highly annoying. I just need it to be basically a surface for it to be on. So there we go. So if I look at the shape and just see if there's anything I can think of that I want to do to it. Maybe put some connects in. Then I'm going to have one in here. Just a single connect this time. Good thing about that is I can just move it over to here now. And then another one. Move that over to there. Okay, that's good. Now what I'm going to do is grab here, and I can ring the selection and connect. And then using that I can chamfer. So chamfer it twice to make these two kind of runnels that I need, and then chamfer it again. There we are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just chamfer this and this and this and this here. Sorry, extrude this rather. Just extrude these down like so. And Control select by edge. Grow them again. Then start deselecting parts that I don't want selected. So only takes a moment to do this, so we're working with a very low polygon piece compared to our normal fare, if you think about it. And all we're doing really is just adding some interest to our model, to a piece that will probably not even be seen. Make sure everything that I don't want to deselect, then sorry I paused, which is why it probably sounds a little bit, oh, did he say something else there? So I'm just going to chamfer this just a little bit like that. Then I'm going to chamfer these edges slightly more than I would otherwise. Just double chamfer that. Then I'm going to get this one, and I think for this one it'll be easier actually just selecting the edges there and there, and then Control select by edge, and then just oh dear, block those, deselect these fellas here, perspective zoom. And I'm going to chamfer these wide. Now we can see here that those bloody verts there are causing an issue. Hang on a second. I'll undo the chamfer we did on that if I can. Probably won't be able to. Oh, there we go, can. Right, so reselect these parts, and I'll chamfer that again in a moment. So take these, not you. Control select by edge, then deselect, get back there, deselect these edges, and put a chamfer in, and wonder why that polygon's got bust. I probably broke it at some point and realise. So chamfer, round it a little bit like that. Okay, that's cool. Now come out of that. Just going to double click here and here, do another chamfer, and then do a little chamfer off it like that, just to maintain the edge again. And it gives us a much smoother looking model when we do it this way. Here, and here. And I can just use the chamfer I used last time as well. So I'll just click on the little caddy box and it replicates it. Okay, so now if I go over here and just stick an open subdiv on, like so, and then have a look at my model, and nice and smooth, kind of the way I want it really. Yeah, That's nice. Nice smooth shape. It's not like I'm concerned about polygon counts after all, isn't it? Okay, so right click, convert to editable polygon, because we now have a weapon mount more or less ready for us. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to attach that to it. Okay, so that becomes our weapon mount. Like that. Now what I'm going to do, from perspective, let's have a quick wee look at it. Alright, now, we know it moves rotating from there, so we need to make sure that everything over here is linked properly. So I'm going to take this and this, and I'm going to link them, select a link to there. Same with these two, this and this get linked to here. And then down here I'm going to grab my little end caps. Here, here, here and here. And link them to this. Reason being now that if I hit F4, we can see that my weapon now has a degree of movement, and that degree of movement will allow it to shoot at the ground. Okay, so don't worry too much if you're thinking about it and going, oh, that's not a lot of movement. You're right, it isn't. I think that's 25 degrees of movement tops, but it's okay and it works. Now, if I want to attach any additional detail to this, like riveting and junk, I can. Let's have a look at how it looks at the moment. Unhide all. As you can see, putting rivets on it is somewhat superfluous. And by somewhat superfluous, I mean completely bloody superfluous. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take the weapon, select and link, and attach it to the weapon mount, like that. And now I can come out, and we can see that this yon big bloody weapon thing is attached to our arm system. Okay, good start, good start. So what I'm going to have to do now is copy it across to the other arm. So first I want to get it into what I would call a relax pose. So I'm going to take the arm here and go to my rotate, and I'm still on local for rotate, which is a help. Now something ain't following something here. Let's see what it is. There, that isn't linked. See it? So I'm going to link this to this. And now if I go to my rotate tool, I can bring that up 4 degrees like that, and we have this ridiculously bitching cannon going on. Now, what I need to do is I need to make a copy of this part, or rather everything in that part, to bring it across. So what I'm going to do is I am going to remove that, because I know it's aligned in the correct direction anyway. I'm going to my front viewport and zoom. Now this is going to test my computer a little bit, because it's going to go, wait, what do you want? And cry a bit. There we go, select that. Use my move tool. And I'm just going to bring this straight across. Click OK. So I'm just copying it. 3ds Max will now sit and wonder what I've done for a moment. Not too long though, thankfully. Now I can control everything, remember, from this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this, I'm going to rotate it down about 20 degrees, maybe 25, maybe a bit more, I don't know. I'm not good with numbers. How do I does maths? Now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to get the angle lined up to the same as this one and connect them. And they're both on the same plane, so connecting them will not be difficult. There we go. And they're connected together. Beautiful. Now I can take this do that. And it's all in the right place. Get a perspective. And I'll just bring this down a little bit. Like so. And now I can relax the position of the gun by just changing the angle of this if I want to. And obviously the hinges all move in the correct manner. See? So now with the weapons added onto this, I can start moving on to superfluous detail. Things that are basically going to kind of start finishing up the model as far as we're concerned to make it look better. So that's possibly going to be more hoses, and it's also going to be looking at the rig, because we do have a rig in place, don't get me wrong, it's just it's probably going to need a few more parts in it. Yoink, yoink. However, on the plus side, everything does work and move around the way it should. Except for the arms that aren't attached. Actually, sod it, I'll attach the arms now. So arm gets attached to inside skeleton. So remember, we've got an inner and an outer skeleton. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so please welcome Finn, because that's what I decided to call him for the time being. Hello, Finn. It's nice seeing him with his weapons on. Those things look absolutely flippin' devastating as well. Okay, so until the next part of the tutorial, see you in a bit.